This is how much we know about movies. We just if you want a raw review of movies, you're getting it right here because we don't know shit.
Dad! Fuck, I don't know, man. Is that like nostalgia purposes for kids these age?
I don't give a shit. I don't care.
We get that, Pop.
Fine, I'll Google it. Through the magic
you don't
of podcasting.
have to Google it. I'm just saying, just take it out.
No.
Not bring it out, or just be better prepared.
Shut your fucking mouth.
I am your father.
Man, sometimes I wish like things would stay at a simpler time mentality.
Welcome to the Two Dads Review podcast.
I was worried about my finger exploding. If
I thought
hard.
that maybe we should have snapped or something.
That's why I turned it sideways. I clapped like this. I was like palm to palm.
So, how long ago did you watch the episode?
All of like maybe an hour and a half ago.
Okay, so it's fresh.
I finished it, ate some food, fell asleep on the floor, woke up, folded clothes. You messaged me.
Perfect.
There's the amount of time that has gone between this episode and where we are.
Perfect. Your feelings throughout the episode. You already know what I tweeted like the day I watched it because I know you saw my tweet.
I liked it. I mean, it was a good episode. It was just a cool episode,
right?
Like
it was very cool.
Like it was fun seeing, kind of like everybody on the team being like the team, you know, instead of it just doing the Scooby-Doo thing where it's like, all right, let's split up, and then you get like a little bit of somebody with Michael or whatever, or with, you know, like, but this was like, hey, eye for an eye, you know, kind of thing. Like, she would die for us. We're actually going to go try and save her, you know, kind of thing. And it was the whole team getting together for Miss Tilly, and even the really like dramatic parts and the like, whoas, they were never too much to like ruin anything else that happened in the show, but they were also kind of like, yeah, like they were like, it was like good breadcrumbs, you know, kind of thing.
Right. This episode was so good that my previous 4 episodes of griping about how long it's going to take to show us Spock, I don't care anymore. And not in a bad way. Not in a bad way. More of just, I want to see this crew do their thing every week. You know what I mean? I don't need it to be like Orville. I don't need it to be like Next Generation. But I understand it's a different type of thing. I love when this crew just does their thing. And we know the Spock thing is overarching. And I've been griping for the past few weeks about, you know, now you've teased it. Now it's going to, you know, there's no way it's going to be what we all want it to be. But I don't even care. Because this episode was the best episode of this season. Possibly the best episode of the series. That's a little bit high stakes, but it's definitely the best episode of the season so far.
I think if you went back and looked at every episode like objectively instead of
with my nerd hood on.
Well, dude, that was the first one in fucking 30,000 light years. I mean, come on, like we gotta that's number one. Like if you just took a random audience view and just like, I guarantee this episode would almost always fall within the top 2 every time. You know,
I would definitely put it at number 1 or number 2 right now in my list of what 20 episodes they've released so far. There was 15 last season. Yeah, so 20 episodes. I mean, and it's because everybody was just, there wasn't like there was a ton of action. There wasn't like there was a ton of you know, fight scenes or cool space battles. I mean, the one cool space thing they did have was friggin' sweet as shit, and that was the Discovery half in and half out of the network. Like, way to go, CG guys.
Yeah, that was pretty sweet.
I mean, it just looked cool.
I like how they...
But yeah, the Discovery stuck in the network, just the visual of that, both from space and from inside the network, both were like impressive shots. You had it like that, especially when it spun up and then it went like canked to the side and just like got like it was just sitting half in. I mean, just that, and then with Tilly and May down in the network, just the giant hole just coming through their area. Like, oh shit, there it is. And
Yeah.
I like Tilly's response is like, that's probably for me.
Yeah, Tilly had a fucking couple good one-liners in there. Like, just...
Right when she got pulled out of the junk. And
yes, like, I don't know what she said. I can't remember.
I'll tell you. You want to know?
I just died. I started laughing so hard.
May pulls her out, and after she like recovers, which I'd like to know, they made her say, "Ow, my eyes, my eyes, my eyes." It wasn't just like her like react, like, you know, the director didn't just go, "Hey, you're feeling pain." Someone said, "Your eyes hurt, and this is the reason." Like, you know, writer, someone who does, you know, the continuity and stuff, or they know the space part of it or the science part of the whole, what they're going for. I'd love to know what that was. Like, I wish they had talked to somebody. You know, I loved it like the Ready Room on Fridays where they talk to an actor. Like they talk to Culber's character, to the actor that plays Culber this week. Of course they did. But I want them to get more writers and like their research guys. I want that guy on that show, and I want them to, like, so she said, "Ow, my eyes, why?" And he'll go, "Well, when it comes to spores and the whole this, that, and the other, blah, blah, blah." Like that, I want to know that. But anyways, she pulls her out, and of course, Tilly reacts like we all would in an enclosed, goopy space, which I literally was like, I was like getting hives just watching her in there. I was like, oh man, because she freaks.
That reminded me of basically how my wrestling career went. Like, I hate being like pinned, like claustrophobic like that, that anytime anybody tried to pin me, it like kicked off the fucking lizard brain in me, and I would flail and flip and kick and dude, whatever the fuck I could.
Right.
And 99% of the time it got me out, because like the guy was like, "I can't hold this dude down anymore," like bouncing around and shit. But yeah, dude, like I saw that, and like just thinking of something that close to my face, like I was kind of getting a little antsy in my chair. You know, I was like, yeah, they need to end this moment in time and go ahead and cut this scene and then have her just out of it. Like, let me get through this. I don't like this.
Yeah, so she pulls her out, and she's going off on May, and she's like, "What did you do to me?" And May says, "You know, we broke down your bodies out of, you know, cells at that end, and we transported you here to this side." And she's like, "Oh, that old trick."
Yeah, that's so great.
That's where I lost it. She had some great lines, and she wasn't her. And in fact, at the very end of the episode, like our happy, bubbly life is a unicorn, the world is a great place, the universe is vast and beautiful, like that Tilly, we're seeing that slowly get chipped away as her experience in space grows. Every time she goes through something, it's just because, I mean, we, you know, if you were to think about the universe that we watch watch this universe on TV every week, I guess it's not necessarily a lot of fun. Like, we don't see the fun episodes. We saw a party episode last time, but it was a fucking time loop, which is not fun either. So it's, you know, we don't see the fun stuff, but there's a lot of shit that's going to mess with your mind out here. And she was so like just 100-foot wall, like everything's wonderful, I'm great, there's nothing bothering me, you know, this is the most exciting adventure in the whole world. And it's realistic watching her like that being chipped away, and like, look, no, this is life. Like, there's some great things and there's some shitty things. You're going to have to come through both of them. And at the end of the episode, you know, she's crying on Burnham's shoulder, and I don't like seeing my Tilly cry. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, but I mean, you gotta it's cool seeing someone new to something be excited, but
yes, for
Tilly to be a captain, and I think everybody that's kind of fell in love with Tilly like wants Captain Tilly, because they kind of know that what we've already seen, she's always going to be tougher, have that backbone needed, but she's always going to put out that like good vibe first.
Right.
You know, and like, I'll do what I need to do. And you're like, cool. Like, I would love to work for someone like that, or like whatever, you know? And I personally like it that she's not almost so naive, because if they would have kept her like naive like that for 2 seasons,
it's not realistic.
It's not realistic. And 2, you probably would have lost interest in her, because after a certain point, it would have just came off as like, you're just dumb. Like, you may be really, really smart and all the sciencey things in the world, but like when it just comes to like getting it, you're just dumb. Like, it would be so annoying after a while. if like you didn't have her being her positive self and doing things. Because before, when she was all positive, it was like, well, what do you want me to do? Like, now she's taking charge, you know, like she knows that she can do these things. I don't need anybody's permission.
Right.
If I'm in the situation, that's how I'm going to do it. And you're like, yeah, I love that. You're happy and you take charge. Rock on.
She gets shit done.
Yeah. You know, but I mean, I just couldn't imagine having, you know, like fresh-faced Tilly for 2 seasons. Because there's no way you could not write her to end up kind of being annoying, especially to like Stamets. You know, like he would end up going, "I've had enough of you. Mm-hmm. Go away."
Yeah, she definitely walks. She definitely and Mary Wiseman, the actress, walks that line where the character with the same things written played differently by someone else could become annoying very, very quickly. And Mary Wiseman has walked that line to perfection for 2 seasons. So far. And you're right. I wouldn't want to see that forever. And it's not that I didn't expect her to grow. I wasn't expecting to get to see that. You know, I wasn't expecting that kind of depth. Not necessarily from the show, just, I mean, if you turn around and, you know, look at old Star Trek, there's not a lot of places. We come into most times with people pretty much, they've been doing their job for a while. You know, and this is the first time we've seen someone start from the bottom and work their way, as long as this show goes on, as far as they'll let her go. And then, you know, the Captain Tilly spinoff show that happens 10 years from now, whatever we get, you know, we've never gotten to watch this before. And I'm willing to bet that to a certain extent, this story, if you think about the universe, is probably not uncommon. Uncommon? Yeah, it's probably very common. You got young kids fresh out of school, excited, bright-eyed, ready to get going, and then they're shown that space is shit sometimes. So it's fun to watch. It's been fun to watch. You and I have been locked into her since day one. You know, up to our idea that she's the main character. I don't care what anybody else says. She's who we're actually following through this whole show, not Burnham, not anybody else. And the more they do things like this, the more I completely think that we're correct. And you and I also were correct last season of how they're going to bring Hugh Culber back. It was Stamets that did it. Stamets brought him into the network by kissing a tear of his DNA, and while he was still half in and half out, kind of like Constantine, you know, he was half in and half out, and brought Hugh there. The mycelial network created him from that DNA, and then he spent the rest of the time like protecting himself with, you know, a certain tree bark from whatever they called it, leech tree or something that was, you know, and he was running around there for 7 months. Oh man, poor guy. Luckily time, I mean, I guess it's good that time passed the same, you know, time doesn't pass differently in the network. So it wasn't like he was in there for 30 years. Just like that's when it gets to be like a mind fuck when you start messing with people who, you know, like in Interstellar, when there's one part in Interstellar where they go down to a planet that's so close to this black hole that 1 hour on that planet's like 20 something years out in orbit of that planet. And they get caught up in a tidal wave and are stuck down there for an hour. And the guy is like waiting for them, and they come back and they're all still fine. And he's like, you know, 20 years older, like, I had given up hope on you guys. Like, it just messes with your head. So thank God that wasn't like the situation that he was in.
Well, we don't know that. Like, we know, because, like, well, what I'm saying is he's there, and yet time for our view, like if someone coming in there was like, oh, you've only been in here for 7 months, right? He don't fucking know that.
True,
you know
we don't know that. You're right.
Like he doesn't know, and
we didn't negate everything I just said, Corey. Appreciate that.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. Like all he knows is that he's been eaten by these little damn lightning bugs the whole time, and the only thing that he's found is to put on poisonous bark.
Yep.
That like there's been no studies on long-term effects of like said bark on humans, so God knows what it was doing to him, you know. But what I don't like, I guess what kind of gets me is, I guess when the doctor was in there one time, like he I get how he brought him in, like with the tear and the DNA and all that stuff, but like I'm puzzled how he materialized.
Ask that question one more time.
Okay, so like what I gathered from the episode was when he kisses Colbert and he catches the tear on his lips when Stamets was like in the middle of everything.
Right.
I get that he brought him into the mycelial network.
Right.
I understand that. My thing is how did he materialize?
Okay,
like,
I have that answer for you. I do have the answer. Okay. So, and this is the part where I love the writing in this show because they teased you because like he got him into the chamber and he's like, okay, let's go. And he pulled his hand through and the hand went away. And like that look on Stamets' face, like when the hand didn't come with him, like I was like, are they gonna do this? Are they really going to do this? Like, are they going to not let him? Are they going to just let him get eaten forever and be gone? Like, is this what they've brought us all here for? Because I'm not sure I have enough tissues in my home for this scene because those two guys are fantastic actors. And
yeah, even man, when I was bawling like a little baby.
Yep, when he was saying bye to him.
Yeah, when he was saying bye to him, and I was like, nope, don't you do it, tear. And that tear just went streaming down my face, looking back at me like it was falling from the building and just giving me 2 middle fingers right up. And I was like, all right, man, you know what? You win. God damn it.
When Culber was saying goodbye to him and he said, you are all about life and you're all about, creating things and not destroying. He's like, you have to let me go because don't take that from me, like why I love you. Because if you keep staying in here and trying to keep me around, we're destroying this network, you know, and like I love that. That was one of my favorite lines of this episode. But okay, so the cocoon that they end up saying, okay, we'll go through the door here. You may take Culber back to the cocoon and send him through. The cocoon on the Discovery was created from matter in our space, and the cocoon in the mycelial network side was created by the same stuff that created Culber, but it's all recognizing a pattern and rematerializing it on the other side.
Now, I get that. I understand how they're going to, quote unquote, bring him back through the things. I'm talking about the very first time, like when he got in the mycelial network. How did the mycelial network go? That's what he looks like. Because even the things that were attacking him, that break all the stuff down, only knew to look like May because they plucked it out of the brain. And they're like, I didn't know how to give myself shape until I found this. So what is he?
Well, the DNA from his tears should provide everything they need to make the body, to make the person. And because it's not being picked from I don't know how he had a soul.
Well, that's what I'm saying. So my thing is, how did he materialize the first time when he was in the mycelial network, right? Okay. And the thing is like, hey, we only have an hour from our super protected ship to hang out in this thing. Mm-hmm. How did he have enough time once he materialized? Because those things were eating him, trying to break him down, that like he knew that, oh shit, this bark's poison. Let me smother myself and hide it. Like, where did he get the time from? Because it seems like as soon as something pops in there, those little guys go to town to redistribute it. So I want to know how he was created in there. How did they know how he was supposed to look like that? And then how did he actually survive? Like, I get that he went Predator on him. Right. I understand that, but what kept him alive long enough to realize that?
Right. I'm guessing that is going to be what he's going to have to face. We'll get all those answers next episode. They did so much like exposition already during the time, the countdown episode. Like, it's that we only have an hour, and the entire bridge is being like, as that wall was getting closer to the bridge crew, where they're like, we can't go anywhere, like we're about to be spun up in this bitch,
Oh yeah, I mean, I didn't expect her to be like explained this episode, but those were the two things that like boomed in my head. I was like, I want to know that and that.
I completely agree, and yeah, part of me when I was watching it the first time, I was like, can we talk about this later? Can we just get going? Like they did so much talking. I'm like, okay, I talk outside of the like get back to the other side, and then we can talk about all of this. Let's just get him there. Let's just go. Y'all ain't got time for this. But yeah, I'm guessing we're going to be dealing with, is that Culber? Because like I said, they interviewed in the Ready Room, in the Ready Room episode on Friday. They put up on YouTube on the Star Trek channel. They interviewed Culber and Wilson Cruz. They interviewed him, and he sneakily said that, you know, it's one of those like, is that him? Is that him? What if him is still there? What if him came over? What if, you know, all we know is that he knew at least who Paul was. Like, he said Paul, so we're like, okay, good. He's not just like a breathing human with no brain or with nothing. You have to fall in love with the guy or some shit because he got to learn English all over again. And he's like a little sweet little baby in man form. You know that skin is smooth though, because that dude is brand new. Every bit of him is brand new. No scars, no broken bone thing, no healed broken bones from when you were a kid. That guy is peak physical condition right now. Like, you got nowhere to go but down, buddy. Nowhere to go but down.
Yeah, like at no point in his life, at his age, right then and there, would he go, "Oh, it's getting cold. My knee's acting up.
Right.
My back hurts.
Weather's getting ready to rain right now.
Fucking stupid."
Yeah.
Like, oh, I feel great.
But, you know, we talked about it when we reviewed season 1, and we thought that they were going to find some way to like make Stamets into Jesus and like be able to create humans or whatever and make, you know, bring Culber back by finding him in the network. And, you know, it came around, but it happened. We knew they were going to bring him back. You got a fantastic actor. We got to figure a way to magic him back into the world. I thought he was just going to bring him. We thought originally that he was just going to bring him back to life, like the dead body. He was going to go, and you're healed. No broken neck. You're fine. But, you know, it was a roundabout way to get there.
Yeah, well, it makes it way more interesting.
Of course. I don't know. Jesus Stamets would be pretty funny.
Yeah, but
laying of hands.
It's just like dumb after a certain point, you know? It's like making a superhero and then just giving him everything, say, like Superman has, and then go, oh yeah, kryptonite doesn't bother him either.
Right.
You know, it's like, so you're just invincible, immortal, and can do whatever. Yes, well, then there's nothing left to write, because eventually what's going to happen is you're going to get bored, and this is just going to turn into Hellraiser all over again.
Yeah, right. So true. Let's see, who else? So we get some interesting things happen other than that, and we get one of our answers in one of my gripes and moans from a couple episodes ago. We see Giorgio's shuttle, or the ship that the Section 31 rides around in, and I made a comment either last episode or the one before that it looked the CG looked a little bit rough on it because the outside hull looked like it was just like one render from being realistic. But then we see them this time, they literally decloak from looking like an asteroid. And I'm like, you know what? That makes complete sense. And if you had showed them the last episode when they just flew by the camera coming out of being an asteroid, I'd have been like, oh, that's some sort of reflective, you know, whatever, cloaking / hologram producing
There's
stuff.
The shimmer, so I'll just buy that something's happening.
Yeah, as opposed to it looking like they just forgot to hit render one time. But yeah, so that was cool. There was also something that I didn't even like, because it's so ingrained in my head from Next Generation and further on in the timeline. The Section 31 emblem, because all the emblems on everybody else's shirt is they're just an emblem that shows your station, whether you're science or command or medical or whatever, right? So their Section 31 badge, Ash taps it and activates the comm in it, and that's Next Generation and on. Like, instead of using communicators, they have the comm badges. And the first watch through the show, I didn't even like blink an eye. I was like, of course he's calling him on his comm badge, but without even going like, oh shit, we're still using communicators in this. What are we doing here? And so this is like the first use of a comm badge as a communicator, and of course Section 31 has it. So that was a little bit
that little bit is kind of like when Men in Black do the walkthrough And they're like, yeah, we have a bunch of trademarks or patents on, like, the
Right.
toaster or whatever, or blah, blah, blah. Like, or when you find out, you know, crazy shit that, like, all the things that NASA has given us through them just sitting there going, I need
wonder
to design something that can get me through the frozen hellscape of space.
Right.
You know, and they're like, hey, guess what? We have an all-terrain tire or whatever pops out. You know, it's like, it's neat to know that, ignoring the whole like secret society agency kind of thing, right? But there is actual, like, that is kind of sometimes how things happen. Like, someone invents something or uses it for one particular
Right.
thing, and then someone goes, well, dude, if we just opened that up a little bit more, like, we could do this, you know, it's like, it's neat
Well,
kind of seeing that stuff.
what I think of is like that badge is more than likely like one of like 4. It's like a prototype, and he was like, here, just take this. You can use this. We'll be floating around in the thing. It's not traceable. But literally, that one badge cost us the equivalent of like $4 billion to make that one badge, which is why no one else has this but like these prototypes. So just take this. Don't drop it. Just attach it to your shirt.
I also feel like agencies like that don't have a budget. And they don't really operate within what you would call money.
Right.
I feel like they either go fiat and just print whatever the fuck they need and just say, go do it, and then let it filter out into the natural ways of drug deals and corporate espionage and whatever. Or all of the stuff that they've gone out and done, they've kind of just snagged the people they need, because not gonna lie, some of the crew kind of looks like they had 1 or 2 options.
Jail
serve 30
or
years
section
on the
31.
ship or die now. Like,
Yeah. Well, that's going to be fun. So that's exactly what I wanted to talk about next. So the overarching plot that isn't really meaningful in this episode to what happens directly in this episode is the fact that they're chasing Spock's shuttle at the very beginning, and they, you know, the shuttle is like, when they come upon it to hail it, like, it's got shields up, fucking phasers are loaded, and it's like ready to, like, it's like in a defensive stance. And everybody's like, why is he got his shields up? And so they, you know, they hail him and disable it with a photon torpedo. They detonate like 100 yards from the thing, which is a interesting way of of disabling it. Like, thank God that guy knew his math right to blow that torpedo up at the exact right moment.
I kind of feel like that's like, you know, when they would go hunting like water mines and stuff and then detonate them.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's pretty much this, or how we can use dynamite to carve faces into a fucking mountain cliff. Like, if we can do that, pretty sure by that point in time, like,
pinpoint accuracy of detonation.
Whatever system in conjunction with the human that is operating it is probably just like nearly flawless.
Right.
Yeah. Like, all of these people, I don't feel like any of them have a dirty room.
Oh.
Like, even Saru's room, for all the foliage, was manicured to a T. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, no one ever looks like they're just kind of going to take a day off. Yeah.
Very true. So when they get the shuttle, it of course has Giorgio in it. Now, a couple things that I really loved about this, about when they bring the shuttle into the shuttle bay, okay? And Pike and Burnham arrive with the security team, which, by the way, Nan, that's her name, right? The girl with the shit on her face. The one from the Enterprise.
Mm-hmm.
Her name is Nan, right? Am I wrong? No, Nan. Yeah, Nhan. Yeah. So she is now chief security. Just in case anybody didn't know that, she's now chief of security. No problem. But so her and her security team plus Burnham and Pike are there. I like when before the door opens, Burnham hesitates. Everyone pulls their phasers up, and she hesitates because in her mind it's Spock. I don't want to pull my phaser on my brother. This is not what we should be doing, but we don't know what's going on. So she pulls her phaser up, right? Mm-hmm. Door opens. Her Highness walks out. Giorgio walks out, you know, hands up and whatever. Everybody lowers their weapon except Burnham, who's literally done the exact 180 onto her mind. Like, her first thing is like, why would I pull my gun on Spock? to now, why would I take my gun off of her?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and I
love
that it was like, it was just, and I love that Pike is not stupid. If you watch the pilot episode of Star Trek from way 50 plus years ago, like, I don't want to base it on that, but like, it's not cerebral by any stretch of the imagination, and Pike is definitely not like, he didn't put off the air of being just intelligent as more than just being like the gunslinger in space that it's supposed to be. You know, the show is supposed to be. So I like Pike in this show. And I like that he's not stupid, because he could see him looking at her like, he doesn't just look at he's like, why are you not, he's like, what's going on here? Like, what don't I know? Is like the first thing he says in his brain. Mm. And then as they're walking through the corridor, he starts, and I want to think this is on purpose, he starts listing about how him and Giorgio know each other from the past, and he starts listing off things, and she's agreeing with him. I want to know if he did like 2 truths and a lie in there. You know what I'm saying? Like, just kind of snuck it in there.
No, because Giorgio calls him out, like, as he's asking all those questions of like, oh, like, because she never really answers him. It was all like, and it's a thing that only women can do.
We're not smart enough to. We aren't.
No, like, but she manages to like say yay or nay or whatever while he's asking these questions that would just lead you to jump to the next questions, but it's never really a confirmation or a denial of it, you know, like, oh, good time or something like that, you know, like, it's just a flow of a conversation. And then she goes, yeah, you know, it seems like you're asking, like, basically like you're asking a bunch of shit, like why I didn't hail myself. And he's like, well, you know, it's kind of ha ha ho ho. And he plays it off kind of like, you know, but yeah, those questions were most certainly like, I'm just going to throw these quick ones out and see if whoever this is dumb enough to bite. Right. Basically what, you know, that was going on there. Yeah. Cause I was totally watching that part. I was like, he would never just bring up those specific things, you know, like this was all, I'm going to kind of just make conversation, but it's all relative to who you really are, you know? Yeah. And she just kind of like brushed everyone off to the side as she does in her like most exquisite fashion, which she does later again when she rattles off her full fucking title, like walking down the hallway with Michael. Yeah. And, like, Michael's looking around like
you're talking out loud. Yeah, because Leland's in his office on hologram, and he's clearing her, so they let her go. And then when he's dropped off a liaison, so now Ash is on board, so you have that to ruffle Burnham's feathers as well, that he's back on board. Giorgio, when they're in the ready room, like, she's eating an apple, and if you're on television, the only person who eats an apple on television is an asshole, and she is being complete. You ever see a person eat an apple on television, that person is automatically doing it in an asshole fashion. It's always like cocky, like, oh, I'm just eating my apple over here. What's wrong with you? You know, and then, you know, who
would have known a fruit and like the way you bite it? Because you know what it is.
It's how you bite it.
It's how you fucking bite it, man. It's not like you had the apple and you just kind of like sunk your 2 front teeth in to take like a normal bite you would on any given Tuesday or whatever, right? It's that, hey, look at me, and then watch me bite right to the core and all the way through and just eat a really large chunk of apple for no fucking reason.
And they always smack when they chew.
See how smug I am doing this? And for whatever reason you go, that motherfucker just eat that apple at me like that? He fucking ate that apple at me like that. Okay.
Them is fighting words.
Yeah. Fighting bites right there. Fighting bites.
I had to tweet that too when I was watching. I was like, only person who eats an apple is an asshole. That's just how it goes on television. But so she didn't fool, or between Burnham's reactions to her and the way that she doesn't have a poker face, and the fact that Michelle Yeoh was kind of, or that Giorgio was kind of just brushing off his questions about her and stuff. He put it together fairly quickly, and I liked that once, right before she went to talk to Ash, he was like, you know what I don't like? I don't like when people, lie to my face, or people that I can't trust, or something to that effect. And he's like, that person is not who I knew back in the academy. So do you have something you want to tell me? And she's like, that is a longer conversation for a different time. She's like, just trust me. I will tell you. I just can't tell you at this exact moment standing here in the hallway.
Yeah.
So
this isn't a quick pass the note. We're gonna need a drink and just sit down for a while.
We're gonna get some. We need some good drink, and it's gonna take a minute. But yeah, so it. I just, of all of that, I was glad that Pike is not being played as just dumb, or just not observant of his crew. He showed it last week when literally walking in the front door or walking in his ready room, he's like, Saru, get out of here, go get some rest, you look like shit. He notices stuff, bam, bam, bam. So it's competency, and it's just nice to see. I don't know, it's not like we haven't had competent captains in the past, but they've been the main character. So now you had this guy who's not really the captain of the ship is not the main character. So it's whatever, however it turns out with that person, how they choose to play him. But I like that he picked up, and he's not just going through life like, everything's fine, everything's just the way it looks to be. Even his conversation with Leland, it's very, and I like that he actually plays stupid to the characters. Like, he plays like a good old boy, good old church-going boy from back in whateverville, but he's like, I like how he smiled as he was like, that's almost sounds like a threat. As he's, it's just that whole thing with Section 31. Oh, this is since we're on this whole topic, I want to put this in your mind, because watching it the first time, it didn't really dawn on me, or didn't even occur till I was doing some research, and then I watched it the second time to do our notes for the show. When Pike goes over to the Section 31 ship, they need to name this ship quickly, because we're talking about it way too much to call it the Section 31 ship every time.
You should just say S31.
Leland ship. Anyways, that ship, Cornwell is there. Admiral Cornwell is there. Now, it's possible that between them saving Tilly and him coming over, a Starfleet shuttle arrived and dropped her off. But it's also probably more likely that is Giorgio's face-changing tech being used to line these two up, at least for the time being. Or it's at least a possibility. And I say that because if you watch it closely, at the very end, there's a throwaway joke where it's like, Pike said something to the effect of, I assume Mr. Tyler is gone to permanent status as liaison, and Leland says yes, unless he's like, I could assign you Giorgio, and Pike, it's a joke because Pike's like, no thanks, and Cornwell responds no, and walks away. And if you, it wasn't like I'm saying no, like I'm making the call who the liaison is. It was almost more as if it was an answer to the question, like stating, no, I'm not going to that ship. So the way, if you watch that scene again, thinking about her face-changing tech, it is a very good possibility that it's not Cornwell at all. Especially, first thing Pike says is, you're a long way from home, Admiral. Like, when did you, almost like, when the fuck did you get here? You know what I'm saying?
I could see that, but the only thing that gets me, and I really hate when this kind of happens, because it's kind of BS too, but Giorgio's not nearly as tall.
She also doesn't have, and also the actress herself doesn't have nearly the command of the English language, but you can play that off by...
But you just say she's voice transmog, whatever.
Yeah, voice transmogrifier, duh.
Yeah, duh, whatever. But the thing that always gets me is you can't replace your physical height. You can put someone's face on, but you can't get 4.5 inches.
Possibly. But she does also, to kind of downplay that, you said she does spend half that conversation standing on a ladder, looking down on the two of them.
Yeah, but she's also right by them and then walks right in front
towards
of them.
the end, right?
Yeah,
Agreed.
I'm just saying, if it was Giorgio, to me, like, I guess you could have put her in boots already and got her all, like, dressed up. It just, the face-changing tech to me is, we put it on, we go in, you know, like, we go out. And, like, I get the whole conspiracy theory. This thing makes perfect sense, but the whole height difference just bothers the fuck out of me, because I'm like, you can't fake that. I don't know where else to go with it. I'm just like, you can't fake it. Like, just somebody tell me you can. Like, I'll go, oh, sweet, that's an awesome way to do it.
Right. I understand you know? Like 1 or 2 inch lifts. Those boots are ugly on this show, but yeah, I almost want to go look up the 2 actresses and see what their heights are, just to see if that's even like a.
Yeah, dude, because maybe it's not even a thing, and they are the same height, and I just don't remember them standing next to each other. But I just feel like Giorgio is significantly shorter than her.
5'4". Okay, so Michelle Yeoh is 5'4".
Okay, yeah, I knew she was not.
Oh yeah, her and Burnham, they're both little tiny packages of whoop ass. Because they, and you know, the guy that plays Saru, Doug Jones, I mean, he's without his stuff on his feet, he is 6'3.5". So he's probably almost 7 feet in his things that he wears to make his walk all crazy. I mean, so they're 1.5 staring at his chest type thing. Now the lady who plays Cordwell, 5'7". You're right. There's 3 inches difference. So
yeah, and that's just hard. I mean,
just physicality of actresses, there's a 3-inch difference. So yes, you can put 3-inch lifts on, but you're gonna notice a set of clear heels on somebody. I'm just saying.
Yeah, it just that like, if they're gonna use the face tech like that would bother me. Mm-hmm. Because now you're just shape shifting. That's what you're doing, because you've made someone taller and longer. Especially when you go into take it into things like, let's say they're gonna go, oh hey, I'm gonna go fucking facelift Saru. Okay, so now you're gonna have an 87-inch reach on your arms and fucking reverse kneecaps and buckled walking backwards and shit. Mm-hmm. You can sprint 70 miles an hour. No, it's.
I'm with you. The first we saw of it, it looks like something that needs to be done, also with a hat and some sunglasses on and in the dark, and so people aren't staring at you all the time and having a conversation. It's more for passing. You can pass in a crowd as whatever you have on your face, but you can't have a conversation with it. That's the way it looked when she pulled that hood she had on was so dark anyways. What's the point of even having the tech on? Really?
Yeah, at that point, you just know you're suspicious when you were wearing a hood like that.
Right. I mean, that was more for the cool reveal of it all.
Yeah.
It wasn't for anything tactical whatsoever. So yeah, that was just, if you go back and watch that scene again, and I'm not saying it's right. I have no confirmation. It was just something someone kind of pointed out online. And I was like, when I watch this again, let me look. If you look at it this is Giorgio, and she's lining them up to work together, with as the Admiral, the conversation still makes sense. Even if it's Giorgio playing it, and then a couple of the responses actually feel more like it would be Giorgio saying them anyways. But it could also
and in the idea is awesome. I like it. That's kind of cool. Hey, go pretend to be the captain. Whatever they want to do with this ship now, they're in cahoots and they think that everything's all gravy on the, normal side of things. Right?
Right.
But it would really bum me out if that was their, gambit. We use the face tech to impersonate someone. I'm like, okay, but, make it... Then explain to me why they're 3 inches different. Right? Tell me that when the tech encompasses the whole body, it just adds negative space to where they normally would be, and then it just moves the mouth, even though you may be walking in their fucking chest.
Yeah.
I don't, and it reads movements. And then I'm like, okay, makes sense. But the way it seemed to be was just this let's blend in kind of thing, in and out from what we've already seen, and then with this height difference that just I'm really hung up on it. We should probably move on. It bothers me so bad. I wanted to like that idea, and then that right there was just yeah, dude, it was here's your wrench, man, just
So they also, during that same conversation, and what sets them off on their next part, there was, when they sent a science vessel to the asteroid that they picked up Tig Notaro, Jet Reno, Tig Notaro's character, Jet Reno, and the people she had saved, They sent a science vessel there, and during one of their scans, they picked up trace amounts of tachyons, which, while are present in transporters and something else that Pike listed, I don't remember, it also is a precursor or sometimes an idea of time travel, a residue of time travel. So why that's important for non-Trekkies like you is that the first time we meet Section 31 back in Next Generation or DS9, they have come from the future and they're time travelers. And actually, I think Archer meets them in Star Trek Enterprise as well. So that Section 31 at some point in their history gains time travel and is using it to bounce around here and there, if I'm not mistaken. So that's a cool thing, and it also may mean that the Red Angel is time traveling. So that is also, I'm guessing. I'm not saying that that's where Section 31 is going to get their time travel from hundreds of years down the road, but it's probably more just for the Red Angel. Angel is some sort of time traveler. So we'll see. I don't know, but they do bring up tachyons. Just as a wrap up, it's cool. Oh, wait, you got something for me?
Well, I actually watched the, next time on Star Trek.
Right.
Dude, that whole, Saru going, fucking reverse Samson, man, this will not happen, and then, hearing that, they're gonna commit genocide, and then those black gooey things, I was like, oh,
is it Thursday yet?
Yeah, I was like, you got my attention.
Yeah. So, the Baul look like that they, when questioned about their methods, are like, oh, no, we'll just destroy we just kill everybody right now? Do we do this? I'll do it. I'll fucking shoot everybody. The Baul look like they're gonna not,
play nice.
Play nice with everybody.
Yeah, my toys, leave me alone.
Right.
They're only child.
Right. I made them. I cultivate them. You leave me alone. This is my crop. Yeah, that looks nuts. And he's going to be what's going to really suck is if he comes back to the planet after being gone for so long. If he takes on, if he is the one to expose that their religion is trash, that their religion is fake, and he's the one who's showing them the way, then it would really be weird if he became their, now we all worship Saru.
I don't think they'll do a prophet thing like that, because I think Saru would
he
immediately. He would immediately just nip that in the bud. He'd be like, nah, just grasp the fact that you've been lied to by those crazy space things up there, and understand that you're gonna get sick.
Then you're gonna be fine.
Fall off, and then you're gonna feel fucking great.
Right.
Go on about your business.
Yeah. Next episode looks insane. And it looks like they're going to cover what I had hoped all of next season was going to be in one episode. And that's fine. It's all it needs is one episode. It's okay. I'll be fine. I just hope it doesn't feel rushed. I'll take a two-parter. I don't care about Spock anymore. We'll get to Spock whenever. We got plenty of time. Let's do some other cool Star Trek shit. So, yeah, that's the best part is that at the end of this episode, every main character is different than when the episode started. Stamets is different. Kobler is different. He's back. Pike is different because of the things he's learned. Tilly is way different. And even Burnham has to deal with Ash being on board and more of the stuff with her brother and things like that. And the fact that Giorgio's back in her stuff. Everyone they got places to go emotionally and as people on this show, and I'm having a really good time watching it because there's not a whole shit ton of character arc and a whole bunch of, there's certain episodes that do some character arc in old Star Trek, but nothing like this. You're not feeling everything at every moment.
I think this is gonna sound like a dick. I know it is.
That's fine. To me, or to Star Trek in general.
To Trekkies in general, probably. I'm lucky because it's all new to me, so I just get to enjoy this for just it being a good TV show. But your one interaction with Pike, you're still so hung up on how goofy he was, and you're it's a really great change to see this Pike, blah blah blah. Where I'm kind of it's 2019, homie. They're not gonna write him like a dumb fucking clown.
True, I completely understand that.
and anytime I've ever talked to anybody that has been any kind of Trek fan, like, it's cool to like the past, man, but you gotta fucking, like, let it go a little bit, you know, like, I guess that's why I enjoy where I'm at, because, like, I can just go watch what I watch, and, like, I don't get hung up on, like, the buttons, or the consoles are different, or da-da-da-da, you know, and it's just, like, some of that shit, it's like, take a breath.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like, they got to do it. Like, you know, I don't know.
No,
it's just...
I'm hoping that you don't group me in that group. I know that I don't expect them to. I would not want them to write him as goofy as he was in the first episode. I mean, as goofy, like I said, the first pilot was. I mean, a lot of the original series was goofy. It's 60s television, of course. It's goofy. I mean, it's going to be goofy.
And that's kind of like my thing is like, it seems that, like, you are cool about it. You're like, look, dude, I love the show, but I also understand that it was filmed in the 60s.
Mm-hmm.
And this is just kind of how things were filmed, and the gimmicks and gadgets, blah, blah, blah. Like, we did what we could. It's like people forget about that, and they just remember the sciencey parts of the Star Trek show.
Mm-hmm.
And then they don't realize that, hey, in real life over here, like, we've been changing too, so things are gonna just fucking be different.
Right.
Like, we have a new budget. Like, why would we make it shoddy looking? You know, it doesn't look like the old set or whatever. It's like, you know why it doesn't look like the old set? Because there's a green screen. There's a fucking $600 million building we're sitting in. There's blah, blah, blah. But you know where they did that? Back alley.
Studio.
Fucking sand and that rock from the desert.
Yep,
that's where they got it. You know?
that one rock formation that everyone shoots at in California between the 60s and the 90s.
Right, yeah.
I've watched so many TV shows. I've been like, I know what formation that is. That's the one from the Gorn fight. It's the one they always use in everything there ever is.
Yep.
Yeah. So yeah, it's I don't know. I guess I'm glad that there's no pandering. It's a TV show that's written for how TV is watched now. Like, you couldn't write a show like Next Generation episodes. Oh, you know what? I take that back, because the Orville's doing great, because it's what it is. It's like, I'm living on your nostalgia because you like the show. You're not a TNG fan.
Yeah, but Orville does it like Orville comes in right from the get-go and goes, we're basically going to take the whole space, right? But we're going to leave it as almost real life as kind of possible, where this is how probably people would interact with shit, and we're going to write comedy to it.
Right, it's like The Office in space.
Yeah. Like, we're like, Star Trek, no matter what, it has that military vibe to it, so everybody's always on alert, always ready, always blah, blah, blah. And that's why it's so refreshing in that show when you have, like, I don't know, Spa Day episode. And it's funny how, like, something goofy can go wrong in that and make the whole, like, and I love it when the writers get creative, how, you know, a tanning machine malfunctions and then it just sets the whole ship, like, ablaze, you know, or whatever. And then they explain a really neat way of how that happened. And then you kind of think about it going, dude, that's like fucking bonkers if you were on like a $1 spaceship and, you know, you plugged in the wrong outlet and like shot the whole side of the building, you know, out or whatever, you know,
right.
Like those are fun because it's a flip where Orville just comes in like right from the get go and you just know it's going to be a space comedy and they're going to hit you with the heartfelt stuff as they're kind of like, hey, you didn't think we could do that. Where like Star Trek's a little bit more the reverse scenario. You know, and it's always a little more serious, a little more...
And we're more impressed when a joke is thrown in.
Yeah, and everybody's on the dying edge of something, and then it's always funny when someone's got enough swagger to kind of like just say a passing line and then go do the cool shit, or when they actually write the goofy, funny episode, because probably every writer goes, I'm out of tears at this point, like... If we're going to make it through this season, you better let me write something funny. Right.
Yeah. So it's, we continue to sing the praises of the show week in and week out. And you know, if you don't like this show, I don't know why you're even listening to this podcast. Like we're objective. we bitched about some things a few weeks ago, maybe last week. I can't remember which one it was anymore.
Yeah,
but
this is just good TV, man.
Yeah, it's just good to watch, and it's good that I'm like, I can't wait till next Thursday. I can't wait to see. I
actually asked my son if he wanted to finish the episode with me when there's like 25 minutes left or something. He had zero interest, but that's beside the point. That's just me being his dad. And then I actually told my dad, I was like, "Have you watched the new Star Trek?" And he's like, "No." And I was like, "I think you should check it out. You'll actually like it because it's not probably what you're thinking." I was like, "Just go watch a couple episodes and like let me know."
Right.
And he was like, "Okay, I can probably do that." And so, I mean, I've told 2 people to try it. So, I mean, I like the show.
Well, that's good. Well, that's it for us for this week. I can't wait to see next episode.
It is 6:36.
I know we recorded this so early.
So early.
What are we going to do the rest of the night? You coming over tonight?
I could.
Yeah, we're going to play some. So Corey and I both have kids that are of like the 5 to 8 range, and there are some board games out there. Like, not board games like Sorry and Scrabble and all that bullshit. Like, we're talking like good story-based like RPG games that are good for kids. And there's one, if you can pick up Stuffed Fables, just go watch a video on it, because it is. My wife and I played through the first couple levels of it just to kind of get a feel for how the game, like, not the story, just like how the game plays, so I can say, oh no, that dice is for this, like that kind of thing. And it is just like, the story to me is enthralling. Like, it's like the first story. There's like 7 stories total, I think, in the whole book. Like, you open up the book and one page is the move board for that part of the story. The other page is as you move on that board, you're reading the story, and the first plot of the story is the little girl who goes to bed in her big girl bed for the first time, and it's when she goes to sleep, things from under the bed, that live in that world come to start like messing with your shit. Like, one comes out and takes like a sock, like one sock, and like her. I
don't need the pair,
and like her favorite blanket. And her stuffed animals they begin their watch when she goes to sleep. And while she was in the crib, she was safe because she had bars and nothing could get to them. But now that she's in the big girl bed, their watch begins. And so it's their story of them going under the bed after these creatures, after arming themselves. Like, they arm themselves with things from like the kitchen and the study. So you have like old number 2, which is like a pencil that's like a ranged weapon. It's like a dagger. There's like a kitchen knife, rubber bands. Is like, and it's all kinds of, and it's cool, like little stuff. So and then like the first creatures you run into are like crab looking things that make their shell. Like, their shell, they use baby doll heads. So it's it's a little bit messed up, and like all the figurines you put on the board are all nice, real nice thick plastic model things that you plastic pieces. They're the actual character. So you have them and you're moving them around the board. And it's my wife and I are having a blast. It is fun. So I'm hoping with my kid, get your kid over here, like read that story. Like, when I was reading, I was like, should we read this to the kids at night? Cause I'm like, so anyways, as everybody's listening to us discuss our evening, thanks for tuning into the podcast. We will be back next week. Make sure you find us on all of your favorite podcast listening apps. Turn on that follow button, turn on that notification button so you get that ping every time we pop a new episode up on you. And we'll catch you guys next week for episode 6 of Discovery. Thanks for tuning in.
Thank you, guys. Always appreciate it.